Well, it looks like we're live, Jane. Hello, everybody. We're talking tonight about the Beatles,
the Magic Mystery Tour,
and the psychedelic era, and all those sort of things. So we thought we'd dress appropriately, so that obviously it's very important that we set the right impression to our friends and admirers out there. So we're going to say hello to everybody. I won't keep these glasses on much longer because I can't see a thing.
It's not a bad thing, is it?
It's completely dark out there. But we're going to talk about the Beatles. We're going to talk about the psychedelic type of era, the influence it had on culture, and the sort of the spiritual sort of movement that came from the Beatles, particularly during their time in Rishikesh.
Yes, the meditation.
So, hello, TJ.
From Pacific Northwest. Ginger tea, looking forward to the chat today as I live through the Beatles here. Hi from East Coast, USA.
Especially looking forward to tonight's topic. I visited the Lennon and McCartney homes in Liverpool. Great tour. Yeah,
good.
And also join in, all of you too, because I mean, we have a fair old knowledge about the Beatles and the things like that. But if you've got any interesting comments you want to add, have them in your mind ready, and we'll answer those. Hi from Cornwall.
Big hello across the pond. Great content here on your channel. Keep it up. That's Millie.
Hi, you really
Millie.
think this is great content? This is silly content. But anyway, we're just having a bit of a laugh tonight with it, aren't we? Of course, me making excuses, rolling on the floor, laughing. I'm from Germany. But see, I told you not to wear that, Jane. I'm from Tennessee, from Tammy. You do something.
The Dilly Bits. Hi, man. Love the gear. Yeah, man.
Out of sight.
Well,
that's my era, late 60s music. Love it. Nice glasses, Craig. Yeah, it was my era too, actually. I'm a die-hard hippie at heart. But, we copped out like the rest of us did, Keep this off the microphone.
Timothy Leary, innit? Tune in, tune out.
Tune in, turn on to our channel, guys. Hi, guys. Nice Matrix look, Craig. Yes. I don't know which sort of Matrix I went into. Some peculiar sort of timeline into the planet silly. Hello, Craig and Jane. Or should I say namaste from Canada? Namaste, Derek. Jane?
Well, I've got to put my glasses on backwards and forwards.
I've got my glasses on.
Yeah. Namaste from New Delhi, India. Namaste. Looking forward eagerly to see you here soon.
Yeah, that would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I'll go to India at a drop of a hat, actually. I love India.
Matt, Craig, you look like the singer Captain Sensible tonight. Hello, Jane and Craig. Hi, Matt.
Actually, I could do Captain Sensible or Bonkers Loony Party, couldn't I? Definitely. I see there's some more political parties formed today.
Who was that blind guy
Maybe
in
I
a cartoon? Mr.
Well, Colonel Blink was one of them. No. Mr. Magoo, Mr. something like that.
Well, you don't look like Mr. Natural.
Yeah. Good morning from Portland, Australia. Hiya, Tina. Nice for you to join us. And if you're joining us today, we are talking something sensible this evening. We're talking about the Beatles and the 60s era and spirituality and how it reflects in today's society, really. Hi from Scotland. Hi, John.
You guys look so cool. Love it.
Yeah. We're diehards. We are diehards.
Well, has-beens.
Has-beens. I'll have to talk. You'll have to talk a bit more.
Miriam,
I'm not quite lucid at the moment.
You guys, a lot of fun. Love you too. All psychedelic, are we? You ought to have played the music.
I would have grown my hair long, but I had a bit of difficulty with that bit. This is just hilarious. Fabulous guy. Yeah, you would think that, Bianca, wouldn't you? Come and join us. Come and join us on screen. It's fun, I suppose. It's a fairly light topic tonight. Well, not that light. I mean, it's an interesting, very interesting topic, I think, the 60s and particularly
70s,
60s, 68.
When you think of the first record that came out was Help, Help, and Michelle My Belle. We'd have been about 14 then.
Yeah, She Loves You. What was the first hit, wasn't it? Anyway, Hello, Craig and Jane. A little underdressed this evening. Yeah, I'm sorry. We didn't have time to get changed tonight, so we just had to wear the gear we normally wear around the house. Oh my God! Just fab, Euless. Yeah, well, fab, man. This is what it's all about. You saw the topic. Dress like that every week. Love it.
Yeah, we will have a thing.
I was going to do something unusual next week. Perhaps I shouldn't. Perhaps I should keep
Piggy
conservative eye view, like a
Piggy Wiggy. Hello from my bed, just like Yoko. Yeah, peace.
So we know what we're talking about. We're talking about the Beatles particularly, but all the spirituality around it, and have some thoughts and some questions and some comments, and facts. They're all useful to us too. Makes people viewing this later find it interesting too. Like a lovely eyeshadow palette.
Yeah. You got eyeshadow on, Craig?
I don't know. I've got
Tiger
natural
Lily,
bags. I don't
Groovy
need
Craig
eyeshadow.
And Glamorous Jane. Hello from Wales. That's nice. All right, you read the next one.
Good morning, Craig and Jane from Melbourne, Australia.
Good
if you've
morning.
just woken up, this is a dream. This is a nightmare,
it's an illusion.
Johnny was saying, where did you get the glasses, man? Well, actually, I always wear these.
Mr. Magoo.
Mr. Magoo, that's it. I
Mr.
can't see a thing. I really cannot see a thing.
Not bad,
I'm struggling with these comments. Hi from Hedge End.
Oh, Kim.
Yeah, we're all going to Hedge End. BHA says, hello, Craig, you look like the ghost of Christmas Past from Scrooge. Yeah, I suppose it could be, couldn't it? I think my psychiatrist says I shouldn't dress like this so often.
I like it.
Great.
Kevin, you look great. Thumbs up.
I think being silly, you like being silly sometimes, don't we? Rock and roll, good evening from Fleming. Yeah, hi there. Yes, it's all rock and roll world tonight, isn't it? Bring the 60s back, please.
The Peace and Love part. Yes, thanks, sweetheart.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got any comments like that, when we're talking and we got any thoughts? So we'd like to get this quite interactive tonight.
Yeah. Shall I start?
Yeah, you can start off, Jane. Because I can't see a thing.
Yeah, it was quite interesting that George Harrison was quite a spiritual person. He went to India, and I believe when he died, he actually had a Hindu ceremony where his ashes was spread on the Ganges. Did you know that, Craig?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was amazing. Obviously into Hare Krishna, which is all part of the Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? And all the teachings from the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, he was the first time, he was one of the really, really main influences.
Deep spiritual person.
In my thinking.
Yeah.
On Sergeant Pepper's. Within You, Without You. What words they are.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing.
I like My Sweet Lord, what George Harrison used to sing. I think it's got meaning.
Yeah, that was later on, wasn't it? When he produced
and
the
he
solo
really lost
album.
his self, didn't he, in gardening and that, because he had lived in that strange house with all tunnels, and it's got
did he
water
like gardening?
underneath.
He's got a picture on the front of My Sweet Lord album, isn't it? Or something
Yeah, he
like
did
that.
like gardening.
Yeah.
I think he married a Mexican lady's second wife.
I mean, for all of, I bet for you guys too, without the Beatles, this world would be a very different energy to it, I think. I think they set up, they were part of a big movement of consciousness that was going on.
I can remember when the Beatles first went to America. I think it was 1963, going on the plane. And I think all us teenagers put our makeup on and watched screen. I remember my father getting a flannel, take that mascara off.
You really must be careful how the dates we put to this, because it will date us. It will date us.
Who cares? We're alive.
But it was quite an amazing era.
The Magic Mystery Tour.
Yeah, it wasn't just the Beatles, of course. It was all sort of a whole movement that was happening.
Do you remember the Yardbirds, For Your Love?
Yeah. I didn't like the Yardbirds that much, but they were good. There's some good stuff.
Wayne
came out of it,
Fontana.
and they moved on to other stuff too. Didn't
Them, Here Comes the Night.
they? Yeah, you loved all that, didn't you? You see, we were
Jimi
listening.
Hendrix.
When you think about the music that was happening at that era, not just within sort of things like the Beatles and the psychedelic stuff and everything, but every aspect of music, even folk music with incredible string band and things like that, and every aspect of the arts.
And what's that
was
music
just going
they
through a
played
renaissance.
in India? Sitar.
Yeah,
he was really into that. Sitar
Ravi Shankar
That's it.
taught George Harrison
That's it.
when they went to Rishikesh, because the thing is, the Beatles went to Rishikesh. We're jumping straight ahead into the Beatles then, but the Beatles went to Rishikesh, I think it was in 1968.
Was it?
I think it
Very
was
good
68.
year that year, Craig.
Yeah, a good vintage. I can remember 1968 just, and and so I was still pretty young then, really, for that.
You've been 13.
Yeah, and but was that just at the age that sort of thing has a real good
awakening
pow on your, this was what you wanted to know about.
And everybody had those Beatle haircuts. Do you remember that?
Yeah, and we weren't allowed to have long hair at school. I got thrown out of school and suspended a number of times because the hair was too long. We used to brill cream it back and tie it back so people couldn't see you had long hair. And the teacher would come and flick your hair with the ruler. Go terrible? To the barbers now, boy. Conform, awful? Boy, conform. And that was really powerful in me when he said conform like that.
You've done the opposite.
That point on, I started dressing like this. But it is true, though, isn't it? Because there was a sort of, I've lost my track now. There was a whole sort
Not your mind.
No, but the Beatles going to Rishikesh in many ways was the kind of the absolute pinnacle of the whole thing.
Explain who they met there.
Well, they met well, first of all, Donovan was there with them, and some of the other, and they all went together.
Jane Asher.
They
Paul
met
McCartney.
Mahesh Yogi. They met him first in Wales. Actually, they don't make much fuss about that, but I think Banda or somewhere like that in Wales. So they met him and they started teaching him a bit of meditation, and they started to get into it. And like gurus say, come to see me in India. So they went to India and they'd already been practicing a bit of meditation and things. But what headlines it made, going to Rishikesh. And
you actually went into that same place the Beatles did, didn't you?
Yeah, I went to Rishikesh, not at the same time as the Beatles, of course. I was being a kid. But I mean, I went there. It was a little while ago now, though, wasn't it? How long ago? Would it have been 10, 15 years ago now?
About 10 years.
Quite a while back now, really.
Was it 10 years? No, you went with your yoga
Yeah, went with the yoga group. And
5 years ago.
But they've opened it all up now to the public.
Yeah,
you can actually go around it, which surprised me. But
they're like beehives.
Yeah, I went in there. It was an absolute ruin. But it was a fascinating ruin because, like it's when you walk around an old...
Did you feel the vibration?
Absolutely. It was even more so, I think, than it could ever be now, because there was like little traces of the people that had been there. Past. Little bits of things where people had been in the meditation.
So you picked them glasses up? That's John Lennon's glasses.
Yeah, I stole them from him. But it was a fascinating place because it had a real eerie atmosphere to it, and we had to bribe there was somebody there standing in a uniform, and people put uniforms on in India so that they can just get a bit of money out of you sometimes, and we had to rupee him up in order to get over the gate. He goes, no entry. We showed him a rupee note of some sort, and he goes, and the door opened and he treated us like kings and let us just run around the place. And there's a jungle right on it too.
Yeah. But you felt at home, didn't you?
I was absolutely. I mean, one of my first experiences of India. It was fantastic. Place.
And I suppose it's nice sitting there seeing the sunset too. Right, agility bits. If I'm worrying about something very often, a Beatles song will pop into my head. There will be an answer, Let It Be. Yes, I used to like that one.
Yeah.
I like Hey Jude. I remember when I was nursing.
Powerful song. Though.
Hey Jude.
Yeah, I think Hey Jude. I think All You Need Is Love was the simplest,
Hey
and yet
Jude
one of the most powerful songs. I think they were going to sing Hey Jude instead.
Hey Jude was about John Lennon's son.
Yeah.
When he was a little boy.
I can't remember the details of it.
Yeah. Michelle, my
but
bell,
in the case with those Beatles songs, I mean, even now, they kind of have an appeal to everybody. I mean, the thing that used to annoy us at that era was our parents started liking the songs. Hey, just a minute.
Start worrying when your grandchildren like them.
And now the next generation likes it. They're kind of universal, I mean, what? Couldn't be a worse insult, could it? Your parents, like me singing 10-inch Nails or whatever it was that Danielle was in. and Slipknot and things. That would really annoy you, and when your parents start it, because it had a kind of universal appeal, and yet within it, so much of the lyrics, and particularly, some of the stuff that they wrote for the White Album, particularly which they wrote in Rishikesh. But some of the lyrics, like Lucy in the Sky with Diamond, I mean, they were downright subversive, weren't they? I mean,
psychedelic drugs.
This was LSD being put into a mainstream And the BBC didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what to ban and what not to ban, because in all these songs, and like Itchy Park by the Small Faces and things, there's intertwined all sorts of references.
Hole in My Shoe. Did you like that Traffic?
Yeah, that wasn't a psychedelic one, but I don't think.
Do you remember when we were going through?
They were tearing their hair out trying to censor stuff.
Craig, come back to me. Do you remember when we going through Las Vegas in a taxi and they played Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds?
Yeah, I mean, didn't it set Vegas off? You know, when you're playing that music, going through all this weird, surreal world of Vegas.
Chamber.
Paul McCartney dreamed about his future songs. Oh, this is interesting stuff. Let It Be was a dream in which he was worried, and his mum appeared to him in a dream and said, "Let it be." Oh, really? I didn't know that. He also dreamed about Yesterday and many others.
Didn't his mother die? Didn't his mother die quite young of cancer?
Paul McCartney's mum did, I think, didn't she?
Yeah, and then he lost his first wife, Linda.
It's interesting that they should be influenced by dreams like that. I think that's a really interesting point, actually, because a lot of really great minds, including myself, I've been so modest. I've been very influenced by dreams.
He's an Aquarian.
Charlotte Bronte wrote from their dreams. Frankenstein was written from a dream. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was written from a dream. I mean, a lot of the great literature and a lot of great scientific discoveries as well. And I think, you know, it shows a lot for the Beatles' intuitive knowledge there.
And because they're quite creative people, because I believe John Lennon went to, I don't know if he went to St. Martin's Art School, but they're quite, he was quite arty.
I think he went to Slade or something, I'm not sure.
Arty.
Yeah, music can alter consciousness. Indeed it can.
Yeah.
And that was actually part of the teachings that they learned when they were there, actually, because they learned about transcendental meditation, and transcendental meditation uses like mala beads and things. I think they must use mala beads like this to do chanting, and each person, the Maharishi, would give their individual mantra, which is, for the Beatles, I was thinking about it, for them, it's a auditory thing, isn't it? So it immediately appeals to their that all their brains been working with sound all this time, you know, so their minds instantly link into this idea of using a mantra, because what you don't just chant the mantra, you basically let the mantra happen.
It's 108, isn't it, on the beads?
Usually 108, yeah. They're sometimes slightly different for different things, but mainly 108 beads. And so the Beatles were using internalization of sound. And I'm sure Ravi Shankar must have also taught them an awful lot, particularly George Harrison, about how the music on a sitar and the octaves and all the rest of it they do in the Indian system is all based upon the resonation of the chakras in the body. I mean, I went and saw a fantastic sitar player on the banks of the Rishikesh, and it was under the moonlight on a beautiful setting, on watching the Ganges float by, just like it was out of
it's quite spiritual. Candles,
Passage to India, you know. Fantastic feeling. And he's playing the music, and then he's explaining to us how this resonates with different chakras, and to allow ourselves to open up to the music and let the music alter our body. So I mean, this is what the Beatles were doing, so far ahead of everybody else. You know, I mean, it was amazing. That Rishikesh experience they had there was, you know, really mind-blowing, literally, for everybody, because it affected all of us. My beads are getting in the way.
The reason why the Beatles were so popular was because they introduced melody to pop music that gave it universal appeal. What you're talking about.
Very right.
Yeah, Franco.
And it takes a lot of skill, doesn't it, to write melody?
I think the music was way ahead of its time, wasn't it, really? I
mean, the Beatles aren't the sort of people that would listen to things like Dennis Roussos or anything like that, would they? Like, not that you would.
What? That one, Forever and Ever?
I'm revealing her true taste in music. But melody is popular, isn't it? You know, I mean...
I like classical music, all kinds of music.
Yeah, I'm only pulling your leg. But melody is something that they did. I think that's a very important point, you know.
Right.
And it could probably someone ought to do the same thing again.
Yeah, be light. All musicians channel music from spirit is taken from the air. Now we are in the age of Aquarius. Yeah,
I think not all, but I think most really top-notch musicians kind of channel music. Rachmaninoff used to. He he used to
Piano,
hear his
didn't he?
music. Yeah, he was an incredible
Pianist.
piano pieces he wrote. But
Pianist.
I mean, he used to just channel it. He'd just hear the whole thing. And so did Mozart. Mozart had this ability. And Beethoven, too, used to be able to hear it. Even when he was deaf, he could still hear the music
perhaps
internally.
Mozart, I believe, had Asperger's, or he was a bit savants.
Yeah, more than likely. I don't know.
Because he wrote music at the age of 4. Incredible.
Did he? Mozart wrote at 4, yeah.
Yeah.
And Beethoven, I'm not sure when he started. 2 of the Beatles suffered the loss of their mother at an early age. Of course, I never thought about that.
Yeah, because Paul McCartney's mother died with cancer, and John Lennon's mother did, and he lived with his aunt Minnie, and and they lived in a bungalow, and he was really close to her, and she took him under his wing.
And Ringo Starr's father abandoned the family. I never knew that either.
Mm.
I suppose these psychological things do trigger your.
I wondered if John Lennon was a bit anti-women, because he didn't treat his wife Cynthia very good.
Well, they were breaking up, weren't they? Was it Cynthia who's
in
breaking
India.
up in India?
Yeah.
I mean, we see
because he met Yoko Ono in an art gallery. That's
he kind of already dated Yoko Ono before while he was in before he went to Rishikesh, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, that's right.
So there was all this spirituality going on, and yet undercurrents of lots of upsets going on in the background, weren't there? Really?
Yeah, but George Harrison was very spiritual.
I think India can sometimes be like a turning point.
It's karmic, isn't it? It brings it all out from past incarnations.
People I've known who've gone to India, lots of people have been with us when we've gone to India, but I've often noticed that some have gone there almost going through a sort of like
transfiguration.
Well, a change, a transformation, isn't it? That's what we're looking for. It's like it's like a catalyst for some deep spiritual thing, which for some people might mean breakup of relationships.
The meditation chamber. The Beatles also knew about different sounds, frequencies, and the way they affect the body. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Sound. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about the sitars. I mean, the sitar music is designed to influence the chakras, so which is not just the physical body it's influencing, but the spiritual body too.
Yeah, I think it's great.
And I think so early on for them to sort of bring that to the West, that's why they were geniuses, really. I think they probably did it unconsciously, I expect. They probably didn't know what they were doing quite like that, but sometimes these things, they work through people, don't they? They kind of channel.
Well, it's where it was all happening in India, wasn't it? Everybody wanted to go to India because you had the flower power.
Yeah, I never had enough money. I wanted to go to. You usually go to Rishikesh or Goa. That would be the place. Some of my friends did it. You go overland by magic bus or whatever way you could get across, right down the Rift Valley, or not the Rift Valley. That's in Morocco. That's where I went. Right down through the what's it called, the valleys through Afghanistan, and friends would come back and they'd have things like hepatitis B and things like that. Some of my friends come back, they looked like dead people. I mean, they looked so ill. My friend John, he had jaundice and hepatitis, and we never looked the same again.
I think India is quite an experience for people. We see the rich side and we see the poor side. So it's like the yin and the yang, isn't it? Really, when you go to India.
Yeah. You see both sides of the coin there. And the Beatles, no matter what luxuries you think you can buy, you can't really buy. You couldn't not have been able to buy it there in Rishikesh.
Can't buy
they'd have had to slum it a bit in Rishikesh, I think. A simple diet in the ashram and things like that.
Can you read that?
So Sanskrit mantras are mathematically devised sounds, yes they are, and based upon the shape of the mouth, to produce a certain sound vibration and sound waves. And Sanskrit is a mathematical divine language used to produce divine sounds. And adding sound to fire amplifies its effect. Hence, mantras are often offered to fire. This is really good stuff here, Chandri. Curious to know if you both ever chanted mantras.
Oh, yes, we do.
Yeah, great deal, actually. We both do. Jane tends to chant the Lakshmi mantras.
Yeah, but don't say it like that.
I'm very drawn to the Shiva mantras, and the Hare Krishna mantras, actually.
It's
too.
mantras.
Mantra. That's the correct pronunciation is mantra, and I always I get so many of the pronunciations wrong with it. It takes a lot of skill.
What about the
to
fire
get it right.
pits we like?
And the fire, of course, with the Homer and things like that you do, or
we
Yakni,
believe in
you
all
call it.
that.
I mean, all that combined with the mantras. I mean, when I went to India for Shivarati, there's a real atmosphere to the energy of the mantras. So you chant Om Namah Shivaya for days, you know, and then and these amazing mantras from the Upanishads and things.
That's
and it
how you
builds
bought
the
my
energy.
sari.
Yeah, I ended up hypnotizing, like, go to shop, buy Jane saris, buy Jane saris. But no, on a serious note, though, I mean, it is a very, very powerful, transformative thing, mantras. And I think the Beatles were kind of close to it. I mean, I think perhaps people like George Harrison, the next step would have been for him to go deeper and deeper into the mantras, because he produced the Mantras of India CD, didn't he? Fantastic, with all the main, you know, Asatoma mantras, the mantra, all whole
I'd say
list.
he was the one mostly, the spiritual one out of all of
He
them.
was, I think, that had the deepest insight spiritually. Yeah, I would have said so. I mean, what do you guys think? You know, who was your favorite? St. John, St. Paul, St. Ringo, or St. George? You know, because they were definitely very powerful,
unique, weren't they?
People. And I think their energy resonates to this day, don't you?
Yeah.
Lottie's saying, I feel Beatles' genius, so strong, love and peace, almost magical strength. And it was, wasn't it? You can still put that music on.
Do you remember we went to Las Vegas and we saw the Beatles show?
Oh, God, wasn't that good?
Yeah.
Yeah, we went to Circus Soleil that were doing it. Now, they're pretty good at the best of times. But what they did for the Beatles show, God, that was amazing, wasn't it? I couldn't believe what you were seeing.
Here Comes the Sun, I remember that.
Yeah, and that was the Sea of Holes they did when they did the Yellow Submarine scene.
Oh, it's great.
And they brought this, they brought over the audience, they brought this wave of a holy spotty cloth that covered everybody, and so you see the sea come up to you and then over the top of you.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, I couldn't believe what you were seeing, and then it comes away again and reveals a new thing altogether.
Yeah,
and lots of the old clips.
Mind-blowing, wasn't it?
I mean, it was such powerful stuff, wasn't it? All triggered from the, I think, mainly from that trip to Rishikesh. And a lot of their acoustic work came out of the Rishikesh trip as well, which we saw in the White Album, because that was quite a revolutionary album. That didn't like their producer, what's his name? I forgot.
Brian Epstein.
Was it Epstein then?
Yes.
Or the other one?
No, Brian Epstein.
Said it was too much information. This stuff, you can't do it. You know, we can't be using all this. Was it George Martin said that? But anyway, they said that but they just, and it was their best album. It's their best-selling album, actually, the White Album. Even I think it outstripped Sgt. Pepper's.
Read this.
Okay. What do you think of the album cover for Abbey Road? I'm coughing again. Which some feel points at the original Paul died and was replaced by the present Paul, Bach from Birmingham. I don't know. I know these stories of that Paul was another one of these plants, isn't it? An implant. Not an implant, but a plant. A plant in a clone. What's in this here? I must go. I was going to have a
magic
smoke,
mushrooms, I think.
Yeah, I can't really hold with that, because I think people they make up conspiracy theories, can't they? I mean, you can just sort of, hey, I'm going to make a conspiracy theory out of that. You could just make them up as you go along, and I don't think that's true, actually. Because daft. Sorry. Not you, daft, but the thing is, the conspiracy theory is, I think, because I mean, they were just ordinary people, but I think, the magic of it is that they were geniuses, and I think what we should be wondering at is not conspiracy theories, but the genius that is capable in human, what we people are capable of. It's like, seeing what the Beatles did is comparable to what Michelangelo did in a way.
Yes.
Yeah,
creative. Go on through them.
I've got a coughing a bit. Last week you made me speak all night.
I didn't make you do anything. It's just you, a showman. Casca, speaking of mantras, have you ever heard a Diva Prima She does a lot with mantras. No, I haven't.
Not sure, but there is some bloody good stuff out there with some of the mantras out there. Really good
Quite
stuff.
divine. The singers are quite good with it.
I can't remember. There was one that I came across recently. It was just some divine stuff. It might have been that. I don't think her name was Prima.
Prima means truth.
It means love. Prem means love.
Truth.
Shakti means truth.
Shakti. No, Chatty means peace, Craig.
Oh no, sorry. Satchi
I'm
means
a
truth.
woman that knows.
Right. Chanting means. Oh God, here we go. Anyway, teach me. Yeah. There's some beautiful music out there nowadays, I think. I mean, I love it when I like the mantras when you hear them in India and you hear just the pure voice.
The vibration going.
And particularly when people are walking towards you doing mantras and you hear it getting gradually volume and coming up. But it's also, sometimes it's brilliant when you mix it with modern music and electronic music. I love it.
All right. Prisha, could you please upload a video on mantras you both chant? Thank you both. Could do.
Yeah, there's a few on there actually, because I've put a number of mantras on the ends of some of the meditations and the ends of some of the prediction videos and things, because I mean the mantras can have many sort of levels to them. Really, they can help you as an individual, but particularly things like the Gayatri mantra can help everybody. It's a submissive act. It's a mantra you do wishing for the good of all, isn't it? That may all beings be awakened, sort of thing. So yeah. So I might do a few mantra takes. Would you want to do any?
Well, I think I could overtake you, Craig, and do quite a few. Actually.
Yeah.
I'm a goddess, so I think I'll be okay. Can you see through them glasses?
Hardly. I can see a grey type on black background.
India seems to bring out the individual personality that trips almost transcendental in the four into almost vibrating strings, the different musical notes. Definitely they embrace India.
Yeah, I think you're right with there.
Yeah.
I mean, there's two ways of going to India. You can go to India and you can go to India and you'll see, you can go on a cruise liner and you can go and look at elephants and all the rest of it. And that can still be a very powerful experience. But there's something about going to India where you don't have to embrace it or anything. It just takes you. It calls you.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's like another dimension to India. And it is a bit like that being played in a way, like a piece of music that transforms you. And when you truly resonate with India, and not all Indians resonate with India, a lot of Indians are just on the same materialistic level as people in the West. But when you connect with that ancient culture of India, my God, it does something to you. It really does.
It certainly does something to you.
Well, look at me. Don't I look better for it? I could be sat here wearing a pinstripe suit.
Your aura shines you tonight.
No, it does. It does. There's something special about the way I can't speak seriously when I'm dressed like this. But there's something very special about India. The way it brings something out in you, like you say.
Heidi says, "Just loving both your style today. You both look so cool."
Yeah, we both look so. I think I'd replace that word "cool" with "ridiculous" personally.
No, just be yourself.
Oh, it's only fun. It's fun. Yeah.
Who's to say how anyone's meant to dress? You dress to please yourself.
I'm going to go back to something conservative like pink again, I think. Sometimes silly conspiracy theories can get you back to remembering a forgotten love song, as in Ireland. I would start my journey from here. Oh, Ireland, as in Ireland, I would start my journey from here. And in life, Indian music may path take
many paths to heaven.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
I like Irish music though.
Irish music. Our Irish friends. I mean, that's as good as Indian music in many respects.
Well, it's great. It sings some, makes people happy.
I think music has a very special power that no other art form does. And I've written books and I've done painting and things in my life, but I've never been any good at music. And I'd love to to be able to really play and go with the music like they do. I mean, that must be so wonderful. But I think music it raises vibration. It takes
You certainly
people.
raise vibration.
Yeah,
Craig.
yeah. And it also connects with the past as well, doesn't it?
I
Because
think it's
often,
creative.
you hear a song from a long
Used to
time
play a
ago.
guitar.
Yeah, I'm not very well though, but I mean,
At least you tried.
yeah. But music will also take you back, just like a smell will take you back to something when you were a child. You remember 4711. That's the smell my grandmother wore and things. And same too with music. It kind of awakens a whole series of thoughts.
Well,
sometimes
it's sort of, you're lost in the moment, aren't you, with music?
So music can be very, very powerful, and mantras have that same effect on the soul too. They connect us.
Did the Rolling
They connect
Stones
us
go
to
to
millions of-
India?
I can't remember. And they certainly brought their Satanic Majesties Request out because they were trying to follow in the wake of the Beatles, weren't they? I don't know. Did no? I don't think they did. Perhaps someone can remind us. I don't think they did, as far as I'm aware. Did Paul really die in 1966 and replaced by Billy Sears?
I
Look
don't
alike.
think so, no.
No.
I mean, Craig's been,
I'm a
replaced
lookalike. I've been
tonight.
replaced many times. Yeah. The problem is they keep cloning me and things keep going a bit wrong, So I started out as an extremely sensible individual
With a nice
and ended
suit.
up like this. Yeah. What on earth happened? No, I think you've got to, I mean, not that there's nothing weird going on in the world, because there are some weird things going on in the world, but we can't keep making up conspiracy theories about everything under the sun, because we end up forgetting what the real truth is. And people always I find people always prefer fantasy to truth. It's like you see it in spiritualism and things. They'd rather have ghost stories and things, people in trance spitting green slime than the real truth, which is that life continues after death and that we can communicate with the spirit world and can have this fantastic knowledge that can see us through life and remove all fear of death. Now, that's a good truth. But the silly fantasies, I mean, we spoil it with that, I think. We don't need to exaggerate things, really. Truth is simple. That's the essence of truth. It's always simple.
Ginger tea. George Harrison's mother used to listen to Indian sitar music for relaxation when she was pregnant with George and when George was a baby.
Well, that's new to me.
And me? How do you know that?
How did you? Yeah, where did you get that fact from? Well, obviously, ginger tea. You've checked it out somewhere, but that surprises me. I never knew that. I think my mother used to listen to "They're Coming to Take Me Away." Ha ha.
Didn't work, did it?
Like Napoleon III or whatever. I'm sure the music you listen to when a person's pregnant does have an effect on the baby. Definitely must have, mustn't it? And even the sounds of the womb make interesting. Might give us the sounds that you hear in the womb might
Danielle
influence
when she's a baby.
Ourselves now. Yeah.
Brian Eno.
Yeah, some of that music by Eno and people has that quality.
Do you want to do this?
Oh, I've got a bad cough tonight. Okay, you're going to force me to do it.
Yeah.
Yes, I love Shiva. He is my favorite also. Yeah, because I was saying about that. I wish you guys would start doing spiritual treats and workshops in India, like in Rishikesh, and we could attend and foreigners could visit, come here, and we could get readings from you too.
Yeah, we need a centre.
Kind of what we're hoping to do eventually. And, it's quite, it's quite difficult to get these things organized, actually, when you think about it, particularly now. But we're kind of trying to get a centre together, and we are very, very close to getting the first step. It's not a centre. It's rented part of a pretty fabulous building we've seen. And that will be like a media thing, so we can reach out like we're doing now, so reach a lot of people. But yeah, I'd love to do something like that and do workshops and things. But it is, you think it would be quite an expensive exercise for us to go to India, set something up, hire somewhere, and make sure you got enough people to make sure it is covered.
Yeah,
it was
nice.
It's quite a big call, that sort of thing. But I mean, I'd love to do something like, unless there's some very, very rich millionairess out there who wants to sponsor us and organize it, we'll do it. Yeah. Jagat Singh, Aruta Padwal are two great singers. do listen to their Sai Baba bhajans whenever you get
Oh
time.
yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, Sai Baba himself was a pretty good musician, wasn't he? I
He
mean,
had a sweet voice,
he
didn't he?
did. He had a lovely sound.
Like I heard him sing many a time. Very sweet.
And there's a video out there of him doing the Gayatri mantra to a public audience. And I always take that as the way to listen to say the Gayatri, because a lot of people say, oh, you've got to just say it with this slight flexion and this slight way, and it's got to be done like this. So I always take that as my sort of model for it, but I chose as my way of chanting it.
Actually, I got Swami's voice on a CD that one of the devotees gave me that comes here, because I have a lot of devotees that come and see me.
I think music does bring spirituality together, like it does with Sai Baba. Like I said, also did with Sharavana. When I went to India, they had this big top Indian pop star. I don't know who he was. I didn't catch his name even. But they did some music there that they were going to use as part of the ashram's music themes. It was absolutely lovely. It was absolutely beautiful, and I think it would appeal to, all types of people. So,
Delight. When Louise was pregnant with George, she often listened to the weekly broadcast Radio India, Harrison's biographer, Joshua Greenrow. That's very interesting. That's very interesting.
These are interesting facts. You
see?
It's good that you provide the facts and we provide the entertainment, because
it's interesting.
it is interesting. Yeah,
it makes me wonder. Perhaps George Harrison, his mother, wasn't Indian in past incarnation.
Oh, I'm sure he would have been. I mean, why be so drawn
He got
to
a
Hare
beautiful
Krishna?
son, isn't he? Lovely son, quite talented and musical.
Yeah. He was an absolutely amazing man, really, wasn't he? Really,
he's been given a Hindu name too.
I felt George Harrison in particular, he was one of those pop guys that never really sold out, did he? I mean, he kept to what he believed right to the very, very last breath. You see so many sort of big stars, and
do you have lung cancer?
They give up. I can't remember how
he got attacked by an intruder in his home.
Stabbed, wasn't he?
2 years. That was 2 years before his death, and then I think he got lung cancer, and it's such sadness. Isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, John Lennon, he was pretty. He foresaw himself being shot.
Yeah,
he said it. He said it a number of times to people that he foresaw being shot. Had a fear that he would only live a short time too.
Shame, isn't it?
Jane, if you could have an affair with one of the Beatles members, who would you choose?
Oh, I don't think I choose any of them.
Yeah, don't ask me that same question.
I think spiritually wise, a connection, I think, would have to be George Harrison. I think Babyface Paul, I mean, he was quite nice, every girl's sort of dream, not mine. And John Lennon, I felt was a bit arrogant. Ringo, I should imagine, is quite a fun person, down to earth. But spiritually, connection, non-physical, I'm talking about, would be George Harrison.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing, that they were the first real big boy band, weren't they, when they first came out, really? And each one of them kind of appealed to a different type of girl, just like the Spice Girls tried to appeal to a different type of bloke or whatever. They tried to project an archetype.
There's good bands out there, wasn't there? There was them, Here Comes the Night. There was Jimi
Frank
Hendrix,
Zappa, Mother's Invention, Grateful Dead.
God.
I'm sure you loved all those, didn't you? And Hash of the Coloured Coat featuring the Human Host and the Heavy Metal Kids. Ultimate Spinach.
Canned Heat.
Yeah, they were pretty good too. I used to like all the obscure bands, Elmer Gantry's Velvet Opera.
Fairport Convention.
Yeah. These are mainly American ones I'm saying here. Granny Takes a Trip. Yeah.
I've never heard of that one.
There's some fabulous spiritual retreat centres here now. Yeah, I bet there are actually. Who do that now, and they market for you as well, do they really? And their food and stay is fabulous too. Let me know if you need to send you some references to check out. Oh, well, you can send me an email if you like, through the website. There's a contact form there, so you just go to our website, psychics.co.uk. And it's all been redesigned. I've been redesigning it this month. It's been a long job, but it looks good. So go and have a look at the website, everyone, because I feel it'd be nice if the work's appreciated a bit, because Yeah, it's looking good there. I think it looks good. There's a big picture of me at the top.
That's why it
And a
looks
little
good.
picture of Jane at the bottom.
This man he's the only man I know that cannot go past a mirror without looking at himself 1,000 times
They
a
look
day.
at me.
Oh,
I mean, I always have trouble with fans that just want to come up and touch my clothes. Like,
like the Tin Man in that
yeah, Tin Man.
Wizard of Oz.
So, yeah. So,
William says, how did the Beatles get introduced to spiritualism? I don't know if they were introduced.
well, spiritualism, I think general spirituality, I think he's talking about here.
Well, I suppose they all got stoned, don't you?
Well, I think acid was one of the big stepping stones. It had to be, you know. I mean, the Beatles were part of a big movement, and that movement, you know, LSD was put into that movement in a way because there was already a big resistance to
Timothy O'Leary,
a big resistance to what our parents had all been, because our parents had all been through wars and restrictions, just like we've been through coronavirus, and everybody's having to behave, and then suddenly there's plenty of money and the youth just let loose, and then you throw LSD into the thing, and it just inflames it, you know. And for many people, LSD experience was a transformative spiritual experience. For others, it was a murderous experience that destroyed them. There's no doubt about it. It can go either way. And so I think with the Beatles, it must have been that was
do you remember
trigger point for
agility bit saying William, love and peace and spirituality is all part of the 60s. I can remember in the 60s it used to be the Beatniks at
that
Bewley.
was just before the 60s. Yeah, everybody dressed the same
to Bewley or bust,
black stretchy clothes
and climbed through the pub windows.
Groovy, baby, groovy. Yeah, I mean, they had it sussed as well, didn't they? Actually,
Beatniks.
And listened to obscure jazz music and things. Yeah,
jazz is not dead.
It just smelled funny. And I think that Patty Body, knew about them. I can't hardly. What is it?
Maharishi.
Knew about the Maharishi that was in Liverpool. Yes, I believe that was the case. It was she that introduced them to it at the time, and she persuaded the Beatles to meet him. Maybe that's how it all began. Well, it did on that level. It certainly did. She did, actually. It wasn't.
She married George Harrison.
Pattie Boyd,
yeah, and then she had an affair with Eric Clapton.
Yeah, and she let them down. Real bad news, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, the women that were influencing them really were just pushed into the background, weren't they? Really, I mean, there was a lot of female influences. Yeah. They're leading them on the path to spirituality, and then they claim it as their own. And like you say, I think John Lennon, brilliant as he had an arrogance to his spirituality.
Well, I don't think he really liked them that much, but he couldn't get his own way with Yoko Ono, could he?
Oh, Yoko Ono, floored him because she was completely different. She couldn't
Japanese. He
couldn't handle it. It was mysterious to him, wasn't it? Really. Yeah. Then he didn't know what had hit him with her because she was so different. And a clever woman, actually.
This talk really cheers me up. Talking of happy times, having a laugh, the music and the Beatles, an Indian element. My granny loves so much India, and this brings me much joy. I can remember my grandmother always put curry powder even in mashed potatoes and things like that.
Was that before they locked her up or afterwards?
No, but it makes you wonder where people are drawn to India if it's not something to do in previous incarnations.
I think, India is...
And she would never have peacock feathers bought in the house. Very superstitious.
That's good. It's Murugan, the peacock feathers. They are auspicious, not inauspicious. West, we think they are.
I like peacocks. I've always wanted them.
India is the mother of spirituality, isn't it? Really. I mean, yes, Israel is also another center of spirituality, but to me, it's not like the people of India. They live spirituality.
Well, I think some of them are quite
less
divine,
so now.
aren't they?
Less so now, though.
Yeah,
I'm
but
perhaps
not
over
all of them.
idealizing it because there's also
I
a hell of a lot of rip-off
spirituality.
merchants too.
Yeah, but you get it everywhere, not just in India. You got it here.
Yeah, spirituality is a thing. I mean, it must have been fantastic in what they talk about of the centuries ago and the Satya Yugas, when the people were divine consciousness was prevalent everywhere in India, or so the theory, or so the stories go.
Oh, I don't think you were neither, were you?
Were I a mod or a rocker before? No, I think I was too young for that. But I suppose, hang on, now modern rockers, when were they around? I never really got into the mods or rockers business. No, I mean, that was a kind of about, I've got a Parker jacket actually.
I bought you
I
that.
suppose I ought to call myself a mod. Oh, then I've got a leather jacket as well, haven't I?
Got several.
Yeah, we'll have to start
I
wearing.
don't think you
I dress as a greaser next time.
No.
I'll do
Have the dark
do a
glasses.
mob one for us.
Saturday Night Fever, I
Talk
think.
about something really serious, dressed as a clown again. Okay. V-Light says,
Yeah.
George founded the megastar charity fundraiser rock concert before Bob Geldof's Live Aid. He did, didn't he?
Mm.
Harrison with Indian sitar player Ravi Shankar in 1971 concert for Bangladesh. Yeah, didn't he? At Madison Square Garden. And that, what a great concert that was. I remember Ravi Shankar saying, if you are enjoying the tuning up so much, I hope you enjoy the music as well. Everyone was clapping. They were tuning up. That was true, actually. He was the man that started it all, really.
And Ravi Shankar's daughter plays the sitar. We went
to see Ravi Shankar and his daughter play in Salisbury Cathedral, wasn't it? What a beautiful concert that was. That was really fantastic. Because Ravi Shankar's dead now, but he had a very, very deep spirituality to that man. He talked about his past lives and things too on record. Can you just read that one?
I think you just said, don't you? George founded film production company Handmade Films in 1978, financed the Monty Python classic, The Life of Brian.
That's true. Yeah. Now that's an interesting fact. Yeah, The Life of Brian now wasn't that brilliant too. I mean, I just think that was just another breakthrough movie.
I think you should have been in Monty Python.
Yeah, but Monty Python really. But that was so you see, this was all happening at the same time in that same kind of era, and it all kind of started to die towards the end of the 80s, and the 90s were kind of musically. There was some good stuff going on, but generally there wasn't that driving spirit, was there, like there was in the 60s and 70s and early 80s.
I keep thinking every week you're a different personality, a different persona.
Well, I'm in my 60s frame of mind now. I wish the 60s had stayed and we could have just been there forever, man. But the problem was, that whole movement of the 60s. It was super optimism, really. I mean, we were all expecting to change the world. We were all talking about
revolutions.
We tried to, me and my friends, we tried to actually, we were going to do the whole thing and try to set up a farm and live off the land. And all the rest
you
of it.
on a farm.
We tried to learn farming. We didn't do very good with it.
You.
That's why we ended up in Israel.
You don't even put a pitchfork in the garden.
But it was ridiculous optimism, really. I mean, I don't know how it could ever have happened, but it was so lovely to have such an optimism in the air all the time like that. And I'd love to see that come again. I think it was a real flowering of something that maybe is a taster of what could be in the world.
Well, I think when people come out of this COVID situation, there'll be celebrations, won't there?
Yeah, there will be.
I hope it brings
some more positivity
and love.
And it was so sad, really. There's a lovely program on. You probably find it on YouTube or Where Have All the Flowers Gone, where they interview people like Tim Leary and what happened to the movement. And it is sad that it finally started. It faded away, and of course, it could never have turned into anything. But it had a fantastic influence, and even what we're doing now has its influence. Our thinking has come from that. The new age, like James Rowdy said, is just the old age warmed up. And I suppose in a lot of respects it is, because, we are still kind of picking up on those vibrations that started right back then, and continue through to now. So it's your last questions now, guys. I see the things come up from Domenico there. God, tonight's gone fast. That's because we're having a laugh. It always goes quick, doesn't it? And don't forget to, follow this channel if you're new to it, and stay on this channel. If you come and see us dressed like this, do not unsubscribe. I think it's more the message than subscribe. But yeah, subscribe to the channel. Jane and I do this every Friday. Not like this, but we try to introduce all sorts of new ideas all the time. And particularly thank you to the patrons. And if you can become a patron and give a small subscription, it really will help us with our plans that we're trying to do with more spiritual things. We have a lot going on in the background recently. We can't really reveal much of it at the moment. It's a kind of a small scale at the moment, but we need some small scale money. So if you guys can help out by becoming a patron, which means you give us sort of a small donation each week. You'll find all the information in the description below, and if you've been watching it on a computer, you'd probably get little messages coming up all the time in the corner of the screen saying click become a patron. But it really does go a long way, and it does help us, and we would really appreciate anybody that can help. You can give it as a patron. Also, there's two on there. You can give a one-off payment if you can to the GoFundMe link in there as well. We've got a huge amount of money we've asked for, but all of it helps to get this whole thing that we're trying to do going, our own little psychedelic movement, I suppose. So that's the GoFundMe link just come up on the screen now. So if you seriously, it would really help us if you can do that, all of you. Is that a couple of quid? I mean, it's not even a newspaper, is it? And you're able to watch all this for free and enjoy it with us. And it would be great if you could, if you think we're sane enough. And actually, it's all going to go on psychiatric bills.
God.
So do you want to talk about your experiences with this also? So if you like, you can drop us a line on Facebook, and we can bring people online to us to have some chats. That will become more important, particularly when we get the little media centre together, which is our first step, because we can have more guests that way. So, but we'll have online guests as well, though,
and some celebrities as well.
And don't forget Domenico. Now he's in the background now doing all the work on this. He works really hard, and he's got his own little channel called The Italian Dad. So go and do a search for Dom the Italian Dad. Put it in apostrophes like that, and you'll probably find it more likely on YouTube. And go and subscribe to Dom's channel, because there's some really interesting stuff going on there. All a different sort of feel to things. It's old curiosities and plus camera stuff and all sorts of good stuff.
He's really, really talented.
I'm really impressed because there's some really interesting, he knows his stuff when it comes to films and things like that and editing and that. And so you get some really good, high quality, really watchable stuff there. So have a go at that as well. So we've been giving, this is the last questions coming up now. Do you think the band will ever come along that will be just as good as the Beatles? Bart from Birmingham. I'm surprised you're still alive, Bart. I did like some of your fugues. Inevitably, I mean, people would say that, but it comes in a different form because the ages are different, isn't it?
Yeah.
You would have said, would there ever be another Leonardo? Would there ever be another Michelangelo?
21st century,
and you end up with Van Gogh,
Yeah.
And
I don't
same
like
with the music.
I don't like all this bubblegum music.
I think the music at the moment is
Awful.
not all of it. I mean, I love things like going on some of the electronic music, like Klaus Schultz and things like that, and Vibrosphere and things like that from Sweden and that. There's some really good stuff in the background there, but it's all a bit obscure. Hopefully one day we'll get some really good new I think X Factor's killed music, and downloads have also killed music. It's all we do is listen to what was. It's not the opportunities. Craig, I'm Indian living in the UK, but I don't feel India is spiritual. Visiting Glastonbury, I found it was spiritual. Yeah, well, actually,
Space Cadets live there.
yeah, actually, Glastonbury, man, is pretty good too, isn't it? Actually, I think every country has its own spiritual heart, doesn't it? Every country, I mean, I could think of it. I could name any country in the world, and
quite spiritual.
Any country in the world that has its own spiritual heart, and that's what I think. Actually, having nations is important. I think all the sort of pulling down walls for nations is not always a good thing. I think nations have a certain energy, a certain spirit to them, and I know what you mean. There's a lot of India that is absolutely awful. I perhaps idealize it a little bit because and sometimes there's nowhere as dirty as India on the earth, I'm sure. In 1987, when I joined the military, they had a Beatles special on the radio. Now I relate their music to joining the army. Oh God, yeah. Such a contradiction to the piece and the lyrics and the situation we were in. Well, isn't that the case? We always associate. I mean, I know that the music Hey Jude was playing when my sister's husband died, and she can't listen to Hey Jude again.
USA, Russia.
Yeah, that would probably be the one for the army, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah. So it does. You know, we do have a lot of strong associations with music, don't we? Good and bad. And often when we hear it at a funeral, it can spoil it too. You know,
Right.
people's favourite piece of
Ginger
music.
T says, in years to come, what do you think the legacy of the Beatles will be? Well, they'll definitely be in history, won't they? Go down in history.
They will. I think they will be seen. I think they will be seen as a real powerful force, because you know there's certain music from a long time ago that we still sing now, isn't there? You know, who were you with last night? You know, in the cold moonlight. I mean,
What have you got in that water?
songs do kind of have a tendency to outlive things, don't they? And they in adverts as well spoil them. But I think the Beatles will
yesterday,
be
I mean,
centuries to come.
yesterday, that
the
was
Beatles.
nice, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
I think the Beatles will be there.
And what's that one?
long way
John
ahead.
Lennon and Yoko Ono sung together with the white piano.
What? Well, there was a few.
There's only one. They play piano.
Yoko Ono band, you mean? Or?
No, not Yoko Ono band. John Lennon and Yoko Ono. They had that white give peace a chance.
Okay, yeah. I'm a bit telepathic, but not that telepathic. Okay, Lottie's saying, I hope and joy is almost like the heaven state in itself, and all the energy bounces off each other, being back in the good vibrations. Yeah, isn't that the case? You know, something lovely, positive vibrations. That's what we need more of that. You know, we do need more of that now. And it's nice to sort of connect with you all, because hopefully you're all feeling a little bit uplifted. You know, I'll wear my funereal gear next week so we can tone it down a bit. I'll dress as an undertaker next week. I've got an undertaker's hat.
A steampunk look, perhaps.
So glad you found it fun. I hope you still think we're
normal,
normal people under all this. Thank you, Stranger. So glad you've all enjoyed it. Yeah, you know, I'm going to look at the subscribe numbers and see how many it's gone down by. You've lost 20,000 subscribers. Thank you again for making us laugh and smile together with you. Yeah, I mean, okay, we're being mucking around tonight, but spirituality's got to be fun too, hasn't it? On a serious level, spirituality has to be fun. I think that's what goes wrong with so many of the religions.
Yes, we have found a place.
Yes, we have. Can we mention kind of what it is?
No, not yet.
Later
Wait
on.
till it's all running.
And because we don't know yet whether it will come off what we're after. Thank you, Jane and Greg.
Keep on
and keep on dancing. Yeah, see, I'm not really a dancer. I'm a groover.
Not that groovy. You're the only groover you are when it's food time.
Can you share an IBAN or BIC or a World Pay option? I don't have Visa. There's a PayPal option on there, so you can do it on PayPal. But we can't do all those type of things because the problem is they all take fees and they all take setting up.
It costs you
so
too much.
It costs too much. So we've got You can do it by PayPal or you can do it by card. PayPal, you can most things you can work with that. Awaiting for the videos. Thank you both.
Siram.
Yeah, we'll do some the mantra ones. I've been thinking about. I'd like to do some more. Next week I'm going to be making videos. Then I've got to get back to the readings in April. This has been great fun tonight. More music talks. Yeah, there's a lot more we could do. I mean, you think about the spirituality, the Doors.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Who and when Thingy died in the pond.
Oh, the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, and the Stones. They could do
Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, there's a lot of Indian music, like Ravi Shankar and things like. I would love to financially contribute to your SIVA activity, but I'm unemployed for long. If God willing, we'll do this. Don't worry about
don't
that.
worry. It's a nice thought.
The thought actually
thought
alone is a power in itself.
Want you to go without.
Actually, so no, only give what you can. I don't want anyone giving money they shouldn't give. No. We've had people do that, and I think I'd rather you don't. You
look after yourself.
I know what we've been there too. So it's our
Blessings to you.
So how about Elvis? Yes. He would be a good one next time with Craig and Jane wearing his Yeah, I could do my Elvis impersonations.
Honey, I'm home.
Pop through it. Honey. Yeah. I love tonight, you guys. So funny. I must have had a past life in that time. so obsessed with the psychedelic
It's good
60s.
times.
Yeah, they were fantastic. I mean, the whole thing about psychedelics.
That'd be great, wouldn't it? All the world get together and have a psychedelic party
Yeah.
when we all come out of
Well,
this.
a Kool-Aid party. I mean, I obviously.
What do you say? A Kool-Aid?
Kool-Aid, you know, that's a psychedelic party. But I mean, I'd get banned off YouTube, I think, for promoting things you shouldn't, you know. But obviously did in the past. Well, I think great good vibes. Jesse, just come online. Sorry to scare you like that. Like I say, there's Australians
Actually,
waking up to it.
You look like that guy in 007 that
I
had the
know.
white cat on his lap.
Fortunately, I can't see. Yeah.
What's his name? That guy that had the white cat on his
Oh,
lap.
I've forgotten his name now. On James Bond, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've forgotten. Yeah.
Imagine. Oh, that's nice.
Imagine. Yeah, imagine. Imagine. That is the
Song.
white piano.
Yeah, I know.
Imagine. I love Norwegian wood.
Do you?
Hope you're a girl.
God, pray.
No, we're going too far. We're going too far. Well, we're coming to the end now. And thanks, guys, for joining us. Oh, we've still got some more coming. I've really enjoyed the chat. Good. I'm glad you've enjoyed it. Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? You know, cheers our night. Cheers our miserable lives.
You don't get out much.
Well, you know, we sit at home here staring at the walls, don't we? You know, thinking, oh, I'm boring. Let's go and frighten the world and dress up. Groovy, baby. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Groovy, man. Well, thanks for joining us, folks. It looks like the buys are finished. So we're going to say goodbye to you now. Thank you for Domenico in the background for helping with it all. Go and have a look at his channel too. Don't forget. All right. See you soon.
Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.